Welcome back to the movie recap. Today's movie will be a 2021 Danish history war drama film titled The Bombardment. So sit back, relax and enjoy the video. The movie begins as it flashes a picture of Copenhagen, presenting a historical overlook of what happened somewhere in 1945. The resistance requests the British to attack the Gestapo HQ at the Shell House in Copenhagen, but the Royal Air Force refuses. So instead, the captured flocks are kept as human shields. But then the Gestapo was close to unraveling the resistance that a decision was made to attack. Before the chaotic bomb attack, gloomy weather emerges in the sky where Henry is wearing his winter peasant suit and riding his bike, all the while making a soft whistling sound. On the other hand, a group of young women joyfully pack their stuff for the wedding. As they ride a classic car, their faces depict an inch of excitement. Their driver seems happy as she looks at how joyful the girls are. But then, a whirring sound of a helicopter and an unfortunate storm of bullets approaches like a rain shower. The girls and the driver face their bloody death as the shot shower spikes on their bodies everywhere. Suddenly, Henry, who rides his bike, sees the victims' fate. He sees their wounded corpses, and the horrific scene leads him to drop his bike and runs away. In the other set of pictures, a young man, Frederick, appears but looks frightened as his mother calls him out that a friend is waiting for him outside. His friend, Sven, looks anxious and in awe since he needs help because his life is in danger. He asks if he can stay at his house, but Freda refuses and insists they should meet at the Shell House. Sven owes him 10 kroner, and Freda's gaze insists he should be safe. After that, he returns home and eats lunch with his family. Suddenly, two young girls emerge on the scene as they chirp a patriotic hymn. The girl in the car seems to belong to an elite class named Greta, while the other one is in a low-class state system, a peasant girl named Eva. While they are singing a nationalistic hymn, Sven makes a scene as he runs from two armed officers who are chasing him. Eva notices the unfortunate moment where Sven is caught off guard, unable to catch his breath. The two officers capture him and order him to present his identification card. The officer isn't convinced by his refusal to be a reactionary member. But then, as Sven looks back, an armed officer catches his frightening gaze. The officer shoots a loud bang that surprises the town and Eva, who knows all the scenes behind it. She feels a quick shudder as Sven falls to the ground with the mark of a headshot. However, Henry flashes and depicts a bleak mood of color. His mother stays on his side as he gets a psychiatric session. Because of a grisly murder that he saw, he's unable to speak. His words tremble with mumble and fumble and the sound of a helpless child amidst the war. It seems he was traumatized by the incident, and the only sound he can make is amorphous. But the doctor treats him with a sadistic approach that makes him more infested in severe trauma. Finally, his mother decides to take Henry to Copenhagen to start a new life. Consequently, the two young pilots have been warned that there is undeniably a mistaken attack. The intelligence officer shares that these two young pilots have a mission over Jutland together with Brown and Smith. The report says that they hit a German staff vehicle. Still, according to the reactionaries, it is not a staff vehicle but rather a taxi with a group of bridesmaids and the driver. Stormy weather occurs, and Henry's mother takes him to Copenhagen to start a new life. She goes to her sister's house with Henry, explaining what happened back there and how her son needs some mental rest, keeping Henry away to forget his traumas. His cousin, Rigmor, accompanies him, eager to make him leave the anxious clouds in his head. Later on, Anna, his mother, has to say goodbye so she can catch the train. She provides a notepad for her son so he can express what he wants to tell if he is not yet fully prepared to talk it out loud. Henry and Rigmor will study at the Institut Jean d'Arc during his stay. His mother tells him she will be back in a month and asks one single favor that Rigmor should keep an eye on taking care of her son. Meanwhile, a secret mission has been planned and set in its risky blueprint, Operation Cartridge, as they called it. It says that at 450 kilometers per hour, they will fly at roof altitude toward the center of the capital city, and they'll mercilessly hit their target building. Their target is the Gestapo headquarters in Copenhagen, which is the Shell House. One of their goals is to destroy and kill as many Huns as possible. Then, to avoid their radar notice, they must fly across the sea and bridge through Jutland and perhaps set the direction towards Zealand to Lake Tiso. Additionally, there are 3 groups for this mission. The first group will head to Copenhagen, the second group will circle the lake once, and the third group will separate them twice. This mission will be set late in the morning, the busiest hour that provides them with a high kill count or a worse massacre. Perhaps, the officers were armed with delay action bombs, which will be set 30 seconds from impact. In that case, the Gestapo expects them, for they have positioned 30 Danish reactionary prisoners to serve as bait and a human shield. This mission has been set to eradicate the reactionaries for their peace, even if it costs the lives of their comrades and the people. A new day begins for Henry, and he walks with Eva and Rigmor, a new set of a company to start a new life. Rigmor shares that Eva has seen a murder just like what happened to him, yet she can still speak. She mocks Henry to say something, but all he can do is make a mumbling sound and a language with no sound of words but a mouth with a terrified and melancholic tune. As they walk and pass through the streets, it is time to cross and get into the academe. Rigmor and Eva, his new friendly companion, help him cross the street. It takes courage for Henry as he retrospects the image of gloomy weather and trails of ash smoke in the sky that reminds him of the terrible incident that he saw. Luckily, his friends are willing to help him to recover step by step. As they finally enter the institute, a young nun, Sister Teresa, fetches them calmly. The kids walk in line with Sister Teresa, and while they are walking, they see a group of guards chasing a prisoner and punching it ferociously. Sister Teresa leaves the children with the other nun as she interferes with the guards, and one of them is Freda and mocks him with inscrutable phrases. Unfortunately, resistance prisoners are immediately sent to the shell house, where they are the human sacrifice for their mission. They all suffer below the roof, waiting for something or a hopeless death, with them being about 30 to 40. A new prisoner is soaked in blood from the punches the guards had thrown at him and states that they will be used as a weapon and shield. Meanwhile, Sister Kate is walking alone under the moonlight when Freda suddenly sees her and stops her car. He orders Sister Teresa to stop and turn around and inspects her belongings. He goes away, but Sister Teresa interferes. Freda asks her about what she said to him about God and how it links to the war. Unfortunately, she doubts if God exists, which is her own very philosophical problem. She insists on kissing Freda, hoping that if she does something to make God mad at him, he should punish her, and she will know that God might exist. Sister Teresa kisses Frederick but doubts all over again. Moreover, the children in the institute tackle God as Sister Teresa explains her definition and holy thinking of how God exists. On the other hand, Henry finds better peace as he learns how to smile again because Rigmor's family was so good to him. Henry's smile captures how he takes the healing process slowly. A smile paints a picture of gratefulness to Rigmor, her family, and his new friend, Eva. Under the shade of a hideous night sky, Sister Teresa and Freda have a clandestine sinful affair. Freda offers that Sister Teresa should teach him to pray, which Sister Teresa agrees with. However, as both of them pray, a sensual tension occurs within their gaze. Freda aims to kiss her inside the church, but Sister Teresa aims to free herself from Freda's touch. Suddenly, she sees something, a blood remark from the statue of Jesus Christ, that leads to her philosophical question. On a hazy morning, Operation Carthage starts as the war pilots emerge in the sky and travel to the lake. The series of unfortunate events are slowly coming to their fate. Eva, Rigmor, and Henry go to school to practice a play. A group of soldiers travels through the hazy sky without such clouds for a while. Finally, they fly above through the landmass, dividing into 3 groups to make their risky and pesky operation happen. Meanwhile, Eva feels her tummy aching while practicing their play. Sister Hannah insists that she should go to the bathroom, and Henry offers to accompany her. As Operation Cartridge is about to occur, raw tension arises when a helicopter loses its tail amidst its accidental bump into the tower satellite. Their helicopter is whirring and malfunctioning as it sways nefariously. The plane crashes in the institute, which surprises the children. The bombs were dropped on the shell house, where the prisoners do their best to flee amidst the massive explosions. Everyone is in a rage of survival adrenaline, even the children inside the institute. The bell tolls inside the school as a warning of the sudden danger. Unfortunately, the officers misinterpreted the smoke from the crashed plane as it blew ash on the institute. The other soldiers warn the others to abort the mission since it isn't their target location. Unfortunately, they didn't listen and continued to throw bomb explosions at the institute. While the sisters and the students step into the staircase, a surprise bomb attack crashes the innocent souls of children inside the institute. Sister Teresa immediately screams and orders the children to stay away from the stairs. As they run away, a loud bang shocks them, and the explosion barricades the dream of these children. The institute falls apart, and it feels like an earthquake has hit them. Greta and Rigmor scream Teresa's name, seeking help, and the rest of the survivors go underground as their safe place. Fortunately, Henry and Eva survive the sudden bomb attack, but both are losing their sanity. Eva feels numb while Henry is in his healing process and has been disturbed by a failed war plan. The military planes still drop bombs on the institute, and children cry and feel hopeless. Yet, their cries depict terrible awe, anxiousness, and sublime feeling. News spread about the bombing of the institute, and the students' families immediately run to the area to ensure their children are alive. It is a ferocious chapter in the history of the World War. The bodies of children were crushed, bloodbath steams in the town, and their screaming rushed through every rescuer, parent, and family, for they were hoping to be saved. Some children survived, but the unfortunate ones died young. However, Henry survived the bomb explosion, but his fear and trauma encouraged him to be brave during these times. A police officer orders him to take down notes of some information that could help to determine survivors and send it to the lady in the theater. As he passes it to the lady, she announces the name, the dress's color, and where the survivor is held. With that, Henry saves a family and takes the courage to stand. Meanwhile, Frederick and Rigmore's father hears screaming right in the underground. Some children were buried alive, and some were still fighting to survive. With the others trapped inside, they are likely racing to a dead end. Freda follows their cries to help and save the survivors. At the same time, Sister Teresa is screaming for help due to being stuck under a hard rock and continuously screams Rigmore's name. But it seems like Rigmore is nearly drowning, unable to catch her breath. She screams for help as the water quickly rises, which could lead them to their deaths. Freda goes back and calls the rescuers about the water situation. After that, Henry keeps delivering information to the theater, to which Rigmore's mother sees him. They reunite, crying because of what had happened to them. Rigmore's mother asks him where her daughter is, but he leaves her unanswered. In the case of Rigmore and Sister Teresa, the rescuers bring a pump to eradicate the water that rises severely. Freda stretches the pump and goes under again. A melancholic tune hums as Sister Teresa screams for Rigmore, but as she spills her name over and over again, an utter silence replies that Rigmore, a bright young child, drowned and died. She keeps screaming her name and mercilessly crying. This event shakes her soul, with hopelessness and frustrated insanity haunting her every last second. She sees Freda for one last time, but all she can think of is to follow Rigmore and the other children. Instead, she chooses to drown herself until the debris falls off. Thus, out of frustration and endless panic, Eva's mother goes outside the theater to sneak some air. She sees Henry and asks if he knows where Eva is. Henry tells her that Eva is not in this place anymore, and she probably went home. The movie ends as Eva's mother quickly runs back to her home while crying and hoping for what Henry told her. As she grasps her breath, she sees Eva eating cereal. She immediately stumbles down, crying and hopeful that her daughter is alive. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this to help the channel out. Have a nice day.